right. So, like, remember when trailers used to get you like hyped for what you were gonna see? Oh man, it was good stuff. It was good times, better times. But you know what? That's okay. We have each other, and that's all we need, right? Just each other. I mean, I would prefer to have good storytelling in books and comics and on screen again, but there's so much stuff in the past that we can enjoy and love, and this is one of them. So we sort of accidentally, actually, I'm not sure if I subconsciously did this or not, but we sort of picked up a theme for the month of March, and it's hack the mainframe, essentially. And, just great classic films with sort of that internet conspiracy connection and twist. So it's just, oh man, it's so good. And I still maintain that Saw stole the line and just, you know, arranged it ever so slightly. But shall we play a game? Oh man, how can you not, like, it just sends the tingles down the spine. And this movie does such a good job, like, of making it believable that this kid, you know, was capable of doing this. And just it's so great to be able to go back and watch these things, and you're like, oh man, the computers are kind of outdated, the tech is kind of old, but like the movie is still good and you still totally buy it. And at one point you believed that a modem could hack into the Pentagon, and it's just fantastic. Yes, how about a nice game of chess where the only winning move, I'm not. Let's see how many of you know how does that go. The only winning move is. Oh, oh, oh. Does nobody know? That would make it even better. I won't tell you. I'll make you go watch. It would be fantastic. Just another reason why you need to go watch this movie, because there's so many good one-liner. There it is. There we go. Okay, Ryan Lynn. The only winning move is not to play. Dan Blackroyd, how's it going? Yes. The answer as well. I am not at all shocked that you guys, Storytime Project, of course you know it. Yes, Anonymous. All right. So some of you have seen this. I was actually really surprised how many people had said that they've never seen War Games. And I was like, I know that Matthew Broderick rubs some people the wrong way. They don't really care for him as an actor, which is totally fine. But the movie itself is really, really good. So let's go ahead and say hello. Who's here besides everybody that I just thought? Theodore Pinnock, hello. Really enjoyed the Rings of Power trailer stream a while back. I really regret that I haven't been able to drop into one since. Oh, well, it's totally fine. Thank you for coming back. I'm glad you're here. I have got a crap ton of Lord of the Rings stuff, videos coming out as soon as I can finish editing them. And that is my plan for this week. I'm just going to like hide in a cave and just edit. And not the cave that George R.R. Martin hid in when he was supposedly spending all of that time writing books. But no, I'm really excited actually to talk about this movie, and I'm so glad that so many of you have had a chance to see it. Not to play the game, love War Game. Yes, Mystic89, hello and welcome. Dan Blackroyd, great to see you. Legionist, how are you, sir? Bastard, good evening, sir. And of course, Eric K, the Golden Wrench, how are you? Raj Williams, it wouldn't be a stream without you, Raj. Thank you so much for being here. Anonymous, thank you for coming in here. And of course, Ryan Lynn, I don't know, should you get a prize since you were the first one to answer? I don't know. We'll have to see if I can't figure something out. But before we get into all of this, I actually have some donations that I need to read out. So thank you for those. We'll get to those right away. I always try to do that at the beginning of the stream if you guys send them before stream, and 4 of you did. So, Raj Williams for $5 Canadian. Thank you, Raj. Says, this was my favorite, one of my favorite movies when I was a teenager. Looking forward to the discussion, Lady G. Oh, I'm so glad. Bastard for $5. Thank you, Bastard. Says, rewatched about 8 months ago, and it didn't have the excitement compared to seeing it as a kid. I can understand that. It has nothing to do with being older, as many films retain that feeling. Ali Sheedy was cute back then. Wouldn't touch my nuts to her today. I can't believe you made me read that on stream. What? People are allowed to get old. It happens. We all age. We all grow. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bastard. I guess we can tell Ali Sheedy to, regain some of her youth. I have no idea what to do with that. Cal G for $3. Thank you, Cal G. Says, bruh, it's been a crazy week. As long as I can make it to this stream, FNT, and the Mario Kart stream, I'm cool. That warms my heart, Cal G. I'm so glad to hear it. I'm glad that you guys enjoy being here. It means a lot to me. It really does. So thank you for that. Ding Dong Dan. Ding Dong Dan for $2. Hi, thank you, Ding Dong Dan. Says, Lady G, do you know a Poor Wayfaring Stranger from 1917, and could you sing it for us? I know it. I know the Johnny Cash one too that it's based off of. I think that might even just, I don't know. I think that might be copyright. I really do. Cuz like I don't know how old the song is per se, but 1917 came out in 2019 or really early 2020 or late 2019. But I suppose I could I don't think I'll get hit for a bar. I don't think. Do you hang on, I don't have if it's off key, I'm sorry. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that great world to which I go. I don't think I can sing more than that. And I'm sorry if I think that I was a little pitchy, and I apologize. But I hope, Ding Dong Dan, I hope that was good enough. I know. Thank you for the $2. I'm sorry I didn't have a better production for you. It caught me a little bit off guard, but thank you. I appreciate the donation, and I hope that was acceptable. So I don't see any supers, and I don't see any more donations. So I think we're good to start really getting into the movie. So thank you everybody that donated. I really, really appreciate it. And Gerbearfu, possibly. There you go. Yeah, says favorite Matthew Broderick movie is Lady Hawk. I just love that little flick. Oh, I've not seen Lady Hawk in a long time. Oofta. Oh, guys, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I had not warmed up or anything. I thank you for that. That's really sweet of you guys. Like I said, I would have sung more, but one, I was not warmed up, and two, I'm pretty sure that song's copyright. So watch me get hit, not for the trailer this time, but in fact for singing a song. But I'm glad you guys all liked it. I love it that I hope it was worth the $2. So thank you. So war games. I actually, when I was little, when I watched this, I thought that it was like a news broadcast. And I was like freaking out, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to fight in World War III. And she's like, none of us do. What are you talking about? And I was like, well, this kid, I was like, it's on the news. This kid is like playing this game. And I was like 8 or 9 at the time, I think. And she's like, honey, it's a movie. But like my parent, like they had just been watching the news prior to that. And so like I came in, I didn't see any of the intro. I was like, oh, it's the news, it's boring. So I like left and I came in and I just assumed that they were doing like a live feed of everything that was going on. And I was like, oh my God, we're all gonna die. And I was like, look, Mom, that's where we live. And there's a missile headed for it. We should probably duck and cover. And she just kind of chuckled. But what's terrifying is, so this film is based, it's like Cold War era, right? Things were very intense between Russia and the US and the way that we competed. That's why we had the space race and we had the Olympics were next level competition. And that has never really left. Russia and the US have always had this very standoffish competitive relationship that is basically a tinderbox. And this movie does a really good job of sort of encapsulating that. And it makes sense because it was made in 1983. So everybody's worried about World War II. Because guys, you know, the Berlin Wall hadn't come down yet. The Berlin Wall was still up until 1989. So this is all very real. And the way that they handled the dynamics of the real world situation going on, and then we're able to make it entertaining, is actually something that is severely lacking today. Because you can write about current events, you can write about certain things that are happening, but you can give them sort of like nuance and kind of keep them in their own bubble, if that makes sense. So the thing is, we don't get that. We don't really get that nowadays. This is when writers and producers and directors had faith in the audience. Like, they didn't have to spell it out for you. They didn't lead you by the hand. It wasn't like a Dora the Explorer movie, right? Where, hola, soy Dora. Can you say red in Spanish? It's rojo. Like, and I'm like, that's how Dora is. And it's meant for little kids, right? But nowadays it seems that type of storytelling where they hold the audience's hand and they show, they tell, they don't show, and they literally, nothing gets a chance to breathe, nothing gets a chance to sort of, you know, express itself, and you don't get to follow a story thread very long, especially like a villain story thread before they get some sort of redemption arc or sympathetic arc, or they're morally gray, whatever it is. I miss bad guys. I really do. I miss genuinely bad guys. But hey, you know what? That's what happens in the world today, right? But I think what makes this really, really interesting is the fact that the Cold War, could you imagine every day waking up and being worried that you were going to turn on the television or the radio and, you know, California's been hit by Russian missiles, or Russia has done this or Russia has done that. And now, like, it's like we're very much sort of in the same situation of the Cold War that we were then. Tensions are really high. And good storytelling, good escapism is going to be necessary for people to remain sane. So this movie is actually relevant today. Yeah, the tech isn't the same, but it's it's really, I hate this word, but it is really relatable. And the reason that that is because the story that they told, you could insert whomever you want for like this, but the story that they told was essentially like good versus evil, keeping your cool in a tense situation, and not and not allowing rush to judgment take over. Because can you imagine if they hadn't figured out that it was a kid who thought he was playing a game, and they actually thought it was Russia? World War III would have kicked off, and it would have been devastating. And so that's why I am so desperate for storytelling that is nuanced and good and engaging, and it's escapist, because even through all the bad, like, humor comes from dark places. I've said this before. If you cannot laugh, especially at yourself, then you are going to die, because there is a lot of stuff in this world, and sometimes you have to laugh at it or it will consume you. Those are your two options. And not letting it take over is what you really need to focus on. So, like, it's so interesting to me that I'm not going to call it a revival, it's a reboot of 80s movies and 80s stories, and they're trying to put a nihilistic spin on them. And it's not working. People are rejecting it wholesale. People hate it. So I don't think they could remake. Honestly, I don't think anybody would even touch a reboot or a remake of War Games, because you simply can't. There's no way for this to turn out nihilistic unless you let Russia win or you let the computer system win, right? And of course, the tagline of the movie is the only way to win, or the only winning move is not to play. But it takes them forever to figure this out. And, like, because the kid, he's been playing the games, the system is up, the system is moving, it's doing what it's meant to do. It has, like, you're questioning, is it self-aware? Like, why is it talking? Why is it asking these questions? Why is it guiding me down this specific path? What is it that, what is it that I need to sort of, like, figure out? What, like, is it doing this because it thinks it's part of a game, or does it have some other hidden agenda? And it's a game. You're like, well, it's an AI. Why would it have a hidden agenda? It's programmed to do something. It's doing what it's programmed to do. That's not a hidden agenda. That's just what the computer system was built for. And so through this whole film, you're trying to figure out, like, has it become self-aware? Like, is that's what happening? It's taking over, it's learning, and it's analyzing everything that we do, and now, it's goading us to play, because if we don't play, we're worried about because if we don't play, like, what happens? Like, will the computer do what it says it's going to do? Is it going to self-destruct? Is it going to blow up? Is it going to send subs or nukes or missiles? Like, what's going to happen? And I always find it really fascinating that this film came out, I think, gosh, 13 years? This is 1983, because it was 1996 when Kasparov, who was the world, like, he is a chess master of chess masters. He lost to a computer. He lost. It was a six. They had 6 matches, 6 chess matches. And it's just like, it was devastating. The computer could analyze something like 200 million moves per second. That's how fast this computer thought. So, of course, Kasparov, like, I will never forget. I was so young, but I remember the picture of him on the TV, and he's just got his head in his hands because he just got obliterated by the computer, right? So the thing is, you're like, okay, well, obviously the computer is programmed to do stuff. So what is yes, thank you, Eric K. Sorry, guys. Yes, he lost to Deep Blue IBM supercomputer. That's what it was. Yes. And it was like and he like the the floor was wiped with him. I think he got beat in less than like 25 moves. I don't remember exactly how many, but it was quick. It was over and done. And a human, like, we're adaptable, we're capable, and we can definitely overcome what seems to be insurmountable or impossible odds, but it's usually when we break barriers of the rules that exist. So Kasparov was never going to break the rules of chess. He was never going to cheat. He was never going to go outside of that. And I'm not saying if you don't cheat you're trying. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it took that approach in war games for them to figure out exactly how to outsmart the computer, because it can't learn and it can't adapt if you're not giving it anything to analyze, right? So it always blew my mind that the answer was simply to just stop, because we have this need to not even necessarily win, but to like shut it to get it hack the mainframe, yo. We got to hack the mainframe. Um but honest to goodness, this movie does such a good job of portraying what happens when somebody with no experience is given a lot of power, and how devastating that can be, not just to themselves but to the world. um i'm I'm not saying there's any correlation, but you know some people should not have access to the nuclear codes. That's all I'm saying. Um, but it was so fascinating, and so I always wonder if Kasparov had just stopped playing. And yes, I know there's time to match. I get it. But like, what would have happened if he had just stopped? Like, he just didn't move. Would the computer eventually be like, you have to call a stalemate, or you have to forfeit, or like, because a computer doesn't have emotions, it can't get frustrated, but its programming is meant, like, a computer doesn't have rationale. It can't stop. It is programmed to go, so it is going to go until it gets shut down. That's mentality. And so we approach that as, all right, that means that I have to play its game until I beat it so that I can shut it down. But in reality, especially because this is a learning adaptable AI, if you give it nothing to analyze, it can't learn and it can't keep going. It has to stop. So that perspective. And I think this film in particular doesn't get I don't necessarily mean praise, but it definitely doesn't get the notice of um of how well written it actually is. Um I think what was really shocking to me was that there's there's this part in the movie, and I don't want to give too much away. Um, but you kind of saw it in the trailer where they're like dragging him out or whatever, and he's like, "It's still playing the game. It's still playing the game," right? So first of all, if you're removing someone that you think is a threat to national security, you're not gonna walk them past all of your supercomputer and all of your top secret stuff. So yeah, suspension of disbelief there for a little bit. But when he realizes that all of these other people are on the floor, and they're trying to figure it out, and they're trying to match, like, all of these people's brain power are literally trying to overcome this one AI. But what is happening is all of those people's idiosyncrasies and logic and processing skills and strengths and weaknesses, the computer is reading those. The computer is reading them, and it's learning and it's picking up on, okay, so this is what happens when I do this. This is what happens when we go here. I can just tap them in this, like I can sway them in this direction or I can sway them in that direction. And so it's really fascinating because he approaches it then as, like this thing is learning. This thing is understanding. Like it can't it doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have morals. Like that's the thing. Whenever people talk about robots and they're like, "Oh, like I swear when robot servants happen, there is going to be like robot rights activists." It's going to happen. Because what these people fundamentally understand is just because it has the ability to transcribe data and to funnel data, it doesn't have feelings. A robot servant would have no more feelings than the calculator that you have at school, the graphing calculator at school. It's the same basic concept. It learns based off of what you program it and what your idiosyncrasies are and what you do as a person or a family, as an owner. So whatever programming, yeah, here's what he gets dragged in front of. I'm telling you right now, if you are a national security threat, you're not going to get dragged in front of all of the top secret screens and I mean, look at this. Like there's no way. You're not going to get drugged in front of that screen. Look at this. It's not happening. Also, I love how the US is basically just like Texas, California, Montana, Michigan, New York, and then I guess Washington. Like it's just in blocks. I was like, man, what is this? And my mom's like, oh, well, because it's supposed to be, like the Northwest, and then you've got California, which is just kind of its own thing. And then you've got the West, and then the Midwest, and the Northern Midwest. She's like, so it's the different regions, and I'm like, that scale, it just looks weird to me because Texas is in this is right through the heart of Texas. It bothers me. It irritates me. So does that mean that half of Texas is the West and the other half is the Midwest or the Southeast or the South? Like, what are we doing here? Help me understand. I'm trying, because like this is the South. Like that's the Mason-Dixon. That's the Mason-Dixon line. Help me. So half of Texas is South and the other half is not? What's going on? What is going on? I don't get it. But yeah, so if you there's no way that they're going to walk a possible security threat in front of all of this information. I don't care how many people they have holding him down. But yeah, it's just like when you look at all this, you're just like, God dang. I don't know exactly what's happening, but some stuff's going down. Like everything's going to get hit. Everything's going to go it's going to be insane. So yeah, it's crazy to me how people, oh look, see, they're happy. Remember when they smiled and the movie had a happy ending? Does this one have a happy ending though? I don't know. Well, I guess you'll have to watch and find out. But it's just there's so much. DEFCON 3. I missed that before. Like there's so over here, this is brilliant. Like look at this poster. It's actually brilliant. He thinks that he is playing a game. So here you've got fighter combat, chess, thermonuclear war. He thinks he's playing tic-tac-toe. He's over here with, maze deconstruction, and all of a sudden you're on DEFCON 3. Like it was done so much better when people cared about the properties that they were in charge of, and when writing was smart and there was care taken. Also, I would like to turn your attention to this bag of ass. Yeah, that's what I called him. I don't care if he's like I don't care if you're in the Air Force. Y'all have standards too, and you are horribly out of them. I don't care what kind of day you have had, sir. Fix yourself. Every time I see this, like, do you see that? That is 1, 2, 3. That's 4 stars, guys. That is as high as you can go. This dude, I swear to God, like, I don't know if Hollywood mocked officers in the military. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, sorry. My internet buffed for a second. Anyway, I don't know if some of the stereotypes of officers came from a perfect example of just unhinged, detached leadership. I don't care if they make a comeback. Like that's not, and I'm not going to tell you what kind of story arc this particular character has. If you've seen it, you know, and if you haven't, go watch it. But man, oh man, correct yourself. Just you are a 4-star. It hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. Eric, hey now, my cousins and father are Air Force. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. We all every branch teases every other branch, but we give it to the chair force the worst. I will tell you that right now. Though Space Force is quickly overtaking it. And everybody's like, well, what about Coast Guard? And like Coast Guard is the step sibling that you feel really bad for. So you still give them crap, but you don't go as hard on them. And then you also realize that they know how to drown you 17 different ways and make it look like an accident. So you just don't screw with them. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, Eric K. Much love to your cousins and your father. Raw them. It's still the Air Force though. Yes. Hello, Charlie Stevenson. Yes. Hollywood is always like it's really funny to me because Hollywood was built by conservatives. And then liberals got in there and they were like, I don't know. It's just, that's the thing. Conservatives are really good at building stuff, terrible at maintaining it. Like if you're going to build something and you're building it to last, make sure that you have people who are going to maintain it, because otherwise you end up where we are today, where it's all a bunch of virtue signaling hack writers who don't know what they're doing. But yes, I mean, honestly, I don't think until even after Reagan's assassination attempt that he survived, because he was a BAMF. I think Hollywood, like, they were all really hard on Reagan. And then of course after he passed, after he had passed, they started going in back on him really hard and everything. But yes, Reagan was head of SAG at one time. And he was like, people loved him. He was an incredibly famous, well-known, like, he was a good actor. And, you know, turns out he was a pretty damn good president too. And of course, Hollywood got rubbed the wrong way and whatnot. Apparently that's not hard to do. And you can just walk up and slap the crap out of someone if they say something you don't like now, even if it's their job. So it was just a it was a weird, it's a weird situation. Reagan even knew about the commie problem in Hollywood back in the 70s. Yes, that's the thing. That's why Hollywood hated him when he became president, because Reagan knew about the commie problem. He lived it firsthand. It was something he had to go through. And he was definitely not a commie, like, by any stretch of the imagination. That man was a blue-blooded American patriot through and through. But yeah, communism, I mean, Walt Disney, not Disney the company, but we can see Walt Disney knew about it as well. He went to Congress. He stood in front of Congress and was like, we have a communism problem in Hollywood and it needs to get fixed now. So like, people were shooting up the flares decades ago, and it just slowly started corroding and eroding away at the foundation. And here we are today. We are in full-blown woke identity politics insanity. And it's just absolutely insane. They are a type of parrot. I know what cockatiels. That's what they are. I have 2 of them, and they're usually very quiet. I'm sorry that they've been so chirpy this evening. But yes, usually they sing really pretty, but tonight I guess they just feel like yelling at each other. So I apologize that y'all can hear them in the background. But I mean, that's what happens when you live in like an 11 square foot open concept home. Everything is kind of in one room. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. This look Look at his face. And this is the boy who's gonna save them all. He's gonna save everybody. I feel like this is the look unironically on most of Hollywood's face nowadays. Yes, redneck green derp. Exactly. But there's so much that goes on in this movie. It's a 2-hour film, so you are in it for the long haul for sure. But it keeps you engaged. It keeps you interested. And you really, it's really relatable. Like, I think, the 80s are just so iconic that, quite frankly, even my kids know about them. And we listen to, I listen to 70s and 80s hair bands and metal, rock and roll. Like, that's just sort of the way that the 80s are. They're so iconic and prolific that it's almost impossible to not know them. And they have left a imprint on our culture. Like, every decade sort of has its thing, and it will leave an imprint on the world for good or for bad. But the 80s was definitely mostly good. It was an optimistic, entertaining, fun time when people had high hopes. Even with all of the insanity that was going on in the world, the 80s was gifted with actors, actresses, writers, directors, authors, philanthropists, talent. There was so much talent everywhere. And if you were talented, you were able to do stuff. Yes, I'm also aware that there were a crap ton of drugs in the 80s. I am not disputing that. But I think when you look at it through that lens, I mean, that was like some of the darkest stuff of the 80s is tied to drugs. You got the cartels and you've got everything else going on. So when you think about the war and the drugs and the cartel and the fact that you were terrified of if you woke up and was it going to be China? Was it going to be Russia? Was it going to be North Korea? Like, I mean, North Korea, not so much back then, but North Korea has always been a bit whoop. And then, of course, you have Vietnam. So you've got the Cold War and Vietnam sort of, high-fiving each other. And there was a lot of stuff going on in the world, but optimism won the day in the 80s. And that is the significant difference between life today and life in the 80s. And we are significant. We have so much to be grateful for. I mean, look at how far we've come computer-wise. Guys, we're talking 1983, so we're talking 39 years ago is when this movie was made. Look at the advances that we have. Like, you don't see any of this. You don't need any of this stuff now. You have a computer in your pocket, guys. You have literally got the ability to access all of the collective knowledge in the world literally in your pocket. And like that's how far we've come. It's insane to think about. I mean, I miss the hair. I miss big hair. I don't know what's up with like this really flat, slicked hairstyle anymore. Also, can we just say teenagers don't get to lean on top secret information like this either? Oh man, it's insane. Oh, it's good stuff. Like, honest to God, I love how surreal it is because you're not hacking that with a dial-up modem. Yes, exactly, Redneck Green. Modem dial-up. And you could hack the mainframe with it, baby. Yes, you could. All you needed was one of those beige, white, corded phones. And dial-up internet, a pizza, and the desire to change your grades or something like that. You know what I mean? It's hilarious to think about. Now, see, Raj, that is the attitude of why we are in such a nihilistic state. We got to be more optimistic. Just try to be positive about it. You have literally got all of the information, all of collective human knowledge in your pocket. Use it. I went back to practicing learning my languages and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. It was time well spent. I used the downtime from COVID and, I tried to improve my mind as much as I possibly could. I read a lot. I dug back into languages to start dusting them off. Learned a couple new ones. Not fluent by any means, but definitely got the basics and the bases down and the structure of the language so that when I want to dive deeply into one of them, I can. So, but what do we do with it? We share memes, Raj. That is what we do. We take all of that collective knowledge and wisdom and we share memes, and it is fantastic. Though I wouldn't object to having more philosophical discussions as well. Pong was the video game tech of the time. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. And now think about where we are. Like, a freaking metaverse. You can make your own person go into a sim world. It's just crazy. Oh. Cavatino Cavalryman Chi. Did I get that right? Yeah, kids nowadays will not have to worry about not having pocket change or knowing how to collect phone calls. That is correct. Fun fact, you still can collect calls. It's just nobody does it anymore. But it is still possible, just FYI. So yeah, there's yes, tired of the Will Smith slap memes already. The memes on Sunday were hilarious. Yes, they were. Man, that new meme format, I'm quite frankly loving it. My favorite one, I'm telling you, is like when they were like, why did Will use an open palm instead of a fist? Because paper beats rock. Dude, I rolled on the floor literally with that one. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. We could write a book about what, Mystic 89? Were you born in 89? Is that what that's about? Or is that just like your favorite number? But what book could we write? About 2020? I don't want to write that book. I mean, we could, but I don't want to. Theodore Pinnock, I feel pleasantly young that I don't know what a collect call is. I bet you do. I bet you just don't realize you know what it is. If you'd like to place a collect call, please press 1. And then you'd have to like go really fast and you'd be like, Mom, I'm at the corner of this, come get me. And then of course she would have to realize that you said, Mom, I'm at the corner of 5th and Main, please come get me. Very fast talkers. And moms were very fast listeners. But yeah, it's there are, I think, if I remember correctly, so have you guys ever seen the movie Phone Booth? It's actually, it's got Colin Firth in it. It's a pretty good show. But I think in the US there's like 6 or 7 phone booths that are still active. And I myself, I have a cord phone, I have a landline. There's still plenty of people with landlines. And I'm not that old. So yeah, I have a landline. And it's great. It's yeah. Reverse the charges. I'm not going to pay for that call. Oh, yeah, the other person would pick up. Would you like to accept a collect call from? Like, no. Oh, man. And that's why you had to speak so fast. So when they were like, would you like to accept a collect call from? And then you'd be like, Mom, I'm at the corner of the main, please come get me. Because you only had that blip of where you're supposed to put your name. But you would like leave the message and then your mom would be like, no, and then hang up the phone and then come hunt you down and then yell at you. Have you even been in one of the temp controlled computer rooms? You had to deep clean it once a week, including pulling up floor tiles and wash the concrete, then cables hidden underneath. Fun. Are you talking about in like modern day Legionist, or are you talking about like way back when with these giant servers like back here? No, I've not been in a giant server room like this ever. Also, the smiley face was never lost. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that line there, but it's smiling at you, which is utterly creepy. But yeah, man. Ooh, talk about nostalgia. Collect calls. Ay, ay, ay. I'm at the corner of telephone and telephone. Yeah. Um, I just at home, one of our telephones is a Bakelite just because my dad thought it would be cool. That is cool. Your dad's cool. That sounds awesome, actually. It sounds like a great way to. That sounds like a good investment. Just saying. Um, but I'm so thrilled to share this movie with you guys because literally it exemplifies the 80s. You have dial-up internet can hack into the most secure government system on the planet. Kid is playing video games that are Pong and Space Invaders level and is about to accidentally start World War III, but is able to like figure it out and um save and help them save the day after he gets, basically black bagged and drug into a top secret facility. Um, the music is fantastic. You will like just tap your foot, and it doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie. I think this movie's like an hour and 50 minutes, I want to say. I miss guys, I'm not gonna lie though. I would kill for a 90-minute movie again. I'm getting really sick of 3.5 and 4-hour movies when the movies aren't that good. Um, but it's just oh man, this is one of the best it just epitomizes the 80s and all of the tension that was going on and all of the stress and the fact that everything was only just starting to get computerized because it was supposed to be more secure. And then you have this kid who's like, I don't think I deserve that F. I'm going to change it to a C. You know what I mean? So like it it was secure but not for hackers. And oh my god, you want to talk about hackers were both villainized and like romanticized in the 80s, and it just depended on which movie you were watching. It really did, because if you were watching The Net, the hackers were the bad guys, and if you're watching War Games, he's like, you know not the bad guy. Okay, Theodore Pinnick, no, I said I'm sick of 3 to 4 hour movies that aren't good. I could watch all 21 hours of Lord of the Rings uninterrupted and happy until the day I die every single day. For real. So, but look, I'm sorry. I went to the Batman. I have that movie review that I should probably just put out. It was not good. And it not being as bad as it could have been does not default to it being good. It was just not a good movie. But this is nostalgic Nirvana. We don't talk about things we don't like. We talk about the good. We talk about the happy memories. Um, but yeah, like, but this movie doesn't feel like 2 hours. The pacing is fantastic. It's really well cast. Um, the story makes sense, and the whole time, like, you're like, okay, so the computer, the AI is actually the bad guy, and the hacker is actually the good guy. But when you get to when you're going through it, he's not really like these people who are running everything, they're not super competent and they're not super capable. Like, this is something that they've never had to deal with. So the fact that now this computer has just started doing these things, um they're panicking, they're trying to figure it out, they're trying to get ahead of it, and like I said, the computer is using that to its advantage, which is just, it's such a great thing to sorry, sorry, you're gonna hear tiny grave masters shuffling by. They were outside playing in the mud and the grime and the trampoline. So, and also they were in the doghouse. I'm watching them crawl out of it. Ah, kids, you gotta love it. But yeah, no, the absolute awesomeness of this movie. It's just, I don't know, like there's so much to love and it's so good and it doesn't feel like you're sitting there for 2 hours. You don't feel like you're being pulled along. Um you feel like you're going on this insanely fun adventure and ride and you want to see how it ends and you want to make sure that the good guys win, or at least humanity wins. Whether we're the good guy or not is kind of up to you. Okay. Oh no, Lady Gravemaster saw meth head Batman who had bulletproof face. Yes, and sometimes bulletproof suit. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you guys. With a Riddler who's not a Riddler and a skinny meth head as Batman. Yeah, it was not, guys. Like, he is actually one of my just for a second, Legionist. Yeah, they'll be back there. I'm not gonna get into the Batman, but I promise I'll drop my review, guys. I don't understand why people liked it. I really don't. It was not good. But again, this is nostalgic Nirvana. We talk about what we love. So if I had to rate war games, I think I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10 for sure. Mystic 89, don't waste your time. And Theodore Pinnock, EFAP they are welcome to like it. It was terrible. It really, really was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just put my movie review out, regardless of the fact that it's way past the wave, but y'all can hear what I thought of it. But guys, again, this film, if you want to have a super fun weekend, I recommend Conspiracy Theory, The Net, and War Games, and you're gonna have yourself a hell of a weekend. Really, really, truly. Yes, I agree with you, Faye. He didn't look appealing, and it didn't improve in the film either. And you could tell they were trying to use clothes to make him look bigger, and it came off fake and inauthentic, and it just wasn't good. So yeah, I 1 out of 10 do not recommend Chris Reeves the Batman at all. But we are almost at 1 hour. And as you guys know, I've been trying to keep these between an hour and 15 minutes. This was a lot of fun. I love movies like this. It's gonna be, oh man. I hope y'all go watch it because you're gonna have a blast with it. I just like his face. I like this is just I love it. There's so much nuance that goes on, and you have like these you've got the big military guys who are calling downstairs. Like, I think that that's probably where the stereotype of nerds in the basement comes from. It's not that they lived in their mother's basements. It's that is where everything was stored. Like the computers, like the oh god, not monitors. Help me. What is that? Legionist. You know what that is. What are those called? Servers. Good god. The servers were down there, so you had IT down there and you had the techies down there. And so, you kept them in the basement because 1, it was more secure, and 2, it was cooler. Like, you have to keep these things cold because they can overheat really quickly, especially back then. But it's so good. But I wonder if maybe that is actually more where the stereotype of nerds in basements come from and not so much them living in their parents' basement. But yeah, it's wait, Geeks and Gamers and Gary got upset because I was saying that about Bat Sparkles when they loved it at first. Hey, you know what? Like, I even in my movie review, I got confused. I was like, why why, like, I've still not listened to anybody else's review, but from the general consensus, like the general atmosphere I was getting, they all really, really liked it. And I did not. I hated it. But it is what it is. So not a whole lot that I can do. Like my mind, it's not for me to change anybody's mind. I just think that it's just it's not worth it, honestly. So it's just, oh, Phantom Outsider. I would say they will have a whopper of a time. I see what you did there. That's clever. Very clever. Well, hello and welcome, Phantom Outsider. Yes, you will have an absolute whopper of a time. But guys, I think we're gonna pretty much wrap it up there. I'm gonna check and see. I didn't see any super chats come in. But let me just double check really quick because I would hate to miss anything that you guys send, because these streams are for you guys so that you can, like I always say, either rediscover something that you used to love and maybe it sort of fell out of your memory, or to help you discover something new that you can love for the first time. And boy, oh boy, I am jealous of you being able to fall in love with something for the first time. Okay, nothing on the super side, so I didn't miss that. Oh, I got another donation on, thank you. Ding Dong Dan for another $2. Can you sing it again? I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna get copyright struck. Like, Ding Dong Dan, thank you for the $2 for the other $2. I I guess I can. I'm just, yeah. You're gonna go play Ghostbusters Mystic 89? Okay. You take it easy. But I guess I can. Oh, Brian McCann, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. I appreciate it. I don't know, like, you guys didn't come here to listen to me sing though. Okay. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that great world to which I go. Okay, so there you go. I sang it again. I hope it was worth your $2. Thank you everybody for stopping by. I know that you came for War Games. I know you came for War Games and not me singing, but I appreciate you all hanging out while I did that. Ding Dong Dan, thank you for the $4 that you donated this evening. I do know House of the Rising Sun, Brian McCann, but I happen to know for a fact that sucker is copyright for sure. Like, I know House of the Rising Sun is copyright. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. Free bird. No, I'm just sorry. 1 second, sweetheart. Okay. 1 minute. Okay, there we go. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by. It does mean a lot, and I hope that you go give these movies a watch. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a great night. Thank you for the supers. Thank you for the donations. And if any of you are members, keep your eyes open because you will be getting member posts shortly. So enjoy your evening, guys. Comics Division will be going live with his Thursday night throwdown. And then, of course, tomorrow is FNT. So by all means, you guys enjoy. Have a great night. And I will either see you in the chat or I will see you live. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.